Hey there everyone, welcome back to the ASUS Garage. I'm Ethan Woods, a pro gamer and content creator.
And I'm Kenan, an actor and content creator. We're both avid creators on social media with over 1 billion views and millions of fans collectively. In this episode, we've got some sweet components here that we think will help bring your content creation to the next level.
We'll also share some social media strategies that have worked for both of us.
This video is brought to you by ASUS for the completely free cost of just clicking the like button. That's it. Just pummel that like button, make it turn red. It makes Ethan happy. Let's make Ethan happy. By the way, we expressed a pro creator tip already. Make sure to ask your audience in the first minute to like your video, like we just did. It is mathematically proven to increase engagement. Like if you enjoy these tips. See what I did there? And for doing that, he'll tell you what we're working with today.
Our creator build motherboard will feature the ASUS ProArt X670E Creator, plus a ProArt GeForce RTX 4080 graphics card, the ROG Ryzen 3 360 cooler, the Tough Gaming 1000-watt power supply, and the ProArt 4K 27-inch display.
I also have 96 gigabytes of RAM here.
We've got the AMD Ryzen 9 7950 X3D CPU, Fractal Design North Charcoal Black with TG side case,
20 terabytes of storage between the HDD and the two 2 terabyte SSDs,
and a screwdriver.
How could I forget? Now, hold on, Ethan. These are some pretty incredible components. Probably a little pricey, right? Do I really need all of this?
Well, what's your most valuable asset as a creator, Kenan?
My time.
So, in that sense, a high-end build gives you the time, allowing you to increase your earning potential, essentially paying for itself.
And as an independent contractor, the entire build could be a tax write-off, also paying for itself.
Potentially. This isn't even financial advice, so you'll have to check with your accountant.
While they check with their accountant, we can start putting together this computer.
Yes, there it is.
Oh, what popped off just now?
That is going to be the CPU socket cover. Because I've seen people when they do builds, they'll manually take this off, and it's like, no, you don't need to do that. Literally, you can leave it on, you flip it off, you put your CPU in, and then after you close the latch, it just naturally pops off. That's how you know you have your CPU securely in its socket.
Oh, wow, yeah, you definitely didn't have a hint like that when I did this.
So then we can get the SSDs up, and then we can also flip these guys down for RAM installation.
And we're gonna wanna put our RAM in slots 2 and 4.
So usually on the motherboard, next to your RAM slots, it'll even tell you which ones it wants you to install the RAM into first.
How do you know the priority?
So the priority is actually, if you rotate it a little bit, you can actually see it straight on, and it's telling you first A2 and a B2. So then you'd install it in those 2 slots, and then that would be the corresponding slot. So and that extremely simplifies. Like, that's one thing I do enjoy about PC building is it's literally essentially taking Legos, because the motherboard is almost like the instructions in itself.
This is crazy to me that we each have 48 gigabytes of RAM per stick. By the way, 96 gigabytes of RAM is going to be amazing for content creation. I'm rendering 2K and 4K videos on just 32 gigabytes of RAM, and that is starting to lag my computer a lot. 96 gigs is going to be incredible. This motherboard features an AMD AM5 socket for the AMD Ryzen 7000 series processors. It supports up to 192 gigabytes of RAM. Is that a typo? 192 gigabytes of RAM?
It's a lot of RAM.
It has dual USB 4 ports, 4 M.2 slots, and Wi-Fi 6E.
And one thing I really like about all these M.2 slots is their PCIe 5.0, which is not only is that of the newer generation, but you're getting transfer speeds from your SSD of like 10,000 megabytes per second.
You've got dual LAN ports, 10G and 2.5G, as well as dual Thunderbolt ports with 40 gigabit per second transfer speeds.
Handy.
All of these are going to ensure seamless video editing, file transfer, and backup experiences. All right, so with that, let's install the SSDs. Here you are, Ethan.
Thank you,
A
sir.
gift to you.
Oh, a 990, this is a wonderful gift.
Just kidding, you're not taking this home afterwards.
So one reason that I really like the fact that we have multiple SSDs that we're putting in, the first SSD will be amazing for quick boot times. So we just have our operating system on our first SSD that works with our chipset, and then we're booting in seconds. And then having that additional SSD will increase transfer speeds and adding things onto it, and then having the additional HDD, that'll give us mass overall storage, so then we can just hold on to everything that we create.
What can you tell our audience about the 7950 X3D?
Well, the 7950X3D, it has first and foremost that 3D V cache from AMD, which allows for so much more computation speeds, because when you look at a lot of the cache space on a lot of CPUs, there may be about 30 or so of megabytes of cache space to allow for that computation room, whereas the 3D V cache on some of these Ryzen 9, specifically the Ryzen 9 7950X3D, has like 64 to like 96 megabytes of L3 cache, which is insane.
Yeah.
So they've added so much more computational room within just this processor itself to allow it to do so much more, specifically in production creator environments.
Wow, faster performance, quieter.
Cheaper to run because it drains less
cheaper to
energy.
run. Yes, less energy over time. All right, so we have already installed the 96 gigabytes of Corsair DDR5 RAM. We've got that AMD Ryzen 9 7950X3D in there. We've got two 990 Pros, that's PCIe 4.0 NVMe M.2 SSDs in there. What's next?
Well, I think the next step should be our cooler. Then from there, it comes to fitting it all in the case.
All right.
One thing that I do enjoy about a lot of modern AIOs, thermal paste is already on there. We don't have to put on thermal paste, it's there. So here we go, and then we can line these guys up.
That looks nice.
Right there, nice and easy, and now we just need thumb screws.
That is awesome. All right.
Thanks, ASUS.
So the ROG Ryujin 3 360 AIO cooler has a 3.5-inch LCD screen. It has an Asetek 8th generation pump and a pump embedded fan. Comes with three Noctua 2000 PWM 120mm radiator fans. Using these three 120mm AIO fans to dissipate only 120 watts of heat is already pretty generous, so we can reasonably expect the AIO fans to be running fairly slowly to begin with.
Almost silent, probably.
Let's get it in the case.
Efficient.
This fractal case, a really sophisticated design. It's gonna add production value to your shots, which is something I really want you to think about as a content creator, right? If
Just for frame of reference, this looks really good.
So this fractal case really has a sophisticated design. It's gonna add production value to your shots, and that is crucial as a content creator. Supports GPUs up to 300mm if you're using a 360mm front radiator. Comes with two dedicated 2.5-inch mounts and two 3.5 or 2.5-inch mounts. It comes with two Aspect 140mm PWM fans, and we are also going to install a few of the Noctua NF-A14 ULN fans. We are also going to install a 16 terabyte Seagate HDD into the computer. We talked a little bit about this with the storage before. It's gonna help out to have an HDD to store the files that you're not using at the moment but need to store long term. And as a content creator, your videos, your content is your reel, it's your resume. Right?
Yeah,
you don't
honestly.
and you want to keep those safe. You don't want to be relying on the cloud for everything. You know, what if you forget your password or
And on
get
top of
locked
that,
out of certain things?
what if you have to start paying for more storage?
That's right.
Because you only have limited storage with those cloud services, and then you have to pay for more storage instead of just having it there physically in your system. Interesting. Yeah, I have not seen this before. So, Kenan, you're going to see dots and then bumps, and then you want to try to align the dots with the bumps, and it's magnetic, which is extremely handy.
Yeah.
That is now that is cool. And it's like, oh, okay, now you know how you installed it correctly.
This is like that satisfying moment when you're almost done putting together a bed frame.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
So now we can lay this guy down, get the motherboard in, and then we can figure that radiator.
Yes. I bet everyone is jealous they don't have an Ethan building their computer with that.
I try to be as informative as I can be.
Classy book.
It's a Noctua book.
Oh yes, scope of delivery, extension cable, ultra low noise adapter. Having a quality build is probably like a resume point, you know? Like if you can tell content creation agencies that you...
It's like I can put out this many videos in this time frame because I have the ability to edit at this speed and render my videos at this speed.
Right, so if you're thinking these kind of computers are a little expensive, that may be true, but you might be able to land jobs more easily and get the money back faster.
Right, there we go. So that should be nice and solid for our radiator. And if anything, we're pretty much done with that front part, so we can slap the front right back on. Right in here. Bang, nice and easy. There we go. We're just that much closer to being done. We can install the hard drive and then have a cable sticking out from the hard drive, and then we can cable manage.
I love that next to these convenient and good-looking Velcro straps are two rubber grommets. Right? We're gonna be using those for cable management as well. What we're gonna do is put the hard drive right in here.
Awesome.
All right, we are now opening the contents of the Tough Gaming 1000G 80 plus gold certified power supply.
And then we can
And
just
then slide it in.
Slide it in like that, yes. Make sure the fan is on
Yeah.
the facing the bottom so you're getting cool air from the bottom. I'm just feeding things into where I know they should go at the moment.
I hold in my hands the ProArt GeForce RTX 4080.
Behold!
This is easily one of the best graphics cards on the market right now.
Oh, absolutely.
It is the world's first 2.5 slot high-end 40 series graphics card. This one really stands out. It's got a slim and elegant design. It also remains cool and quiet even under a heavy workload.
It does have a really sleek design. I like the stealth black.
It's got PCIe 5.0 connectivity. It has what's referred to as 0 decibel technology, which I imagine refers to the fact that the fans will stop entirely when under a minimal workload.
Oh, absolutely. Because like, let's say all you're doing is you're just trying to finish a render and get it uploaded, could definitely be annoying. So that, having that 0 decibel technology is huge.
That's awesome. Another interesting factoid here is that you'll have 2 fans spinning counterclockwise while the third fan will spin clockwise. And having 2/3 ratio of the fans in their directional spin will minimize turbulence and maximize air dispersion through the heatsink.
Oh, that's huge, and that's only gonna improve performance because the cooler your parts are, the better they run.
All 3 fans will come to a stop when the GPU temp is below 50 centigrade, and that's about 122 Fahrenheit. So when you're playing less demanding games or rendering less demanding files, to Ethan's point, you'll remain in relative meditative silence.
Zen.
That's right. And the fans will start up again around 55 centigrade or about 131 Fahrenheit. All right, let's get it installed.
All right, let's flip it in.
It's a 2.5 slot.
So we have 3 of the GPU covers removed because it is a 2.5 slot, and you're gonna go for that top PCIe 5.0 slot. There it is.
Screw that in right there.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Graphics.
Secure your graphics cards. Then we can sit that guy up. We can put the glass panel back on.
We want to introduce you to this fantastic monitor, the ASUS ProArt 27-inch 4K display. That's 27 inches of viewable screen in 4K. That's 3840 by 2160 LED backlit HDR display with 178-degree wide view IPS panel. It's Kalman verified and factory pre-calibrated. I see here that it has a color accuracy of delta E less than 2.
Man, I'm just thinking of this for my friends who are actual editors, and I'm like,
Yes.
huh, the monitor you're on is buns. You need a better monitor.
You get your crystal clear image, you get extensive connectivity, including DisplayPort over USB-C with 96-watt power delivery. You have DisplayPort, HDMI, and USB hub. And just wait, there's more. There is a physical ruler on the bottom of that panel, which is awesome. All of the designers and animators in our studio who saw this monitor are going kind of nutso over this physical ruler.
It's super handy. People are used to the digital ruler softwares, and it's like, for the most part, they do work, but not necessarily as convenient, especially if you have to overlay them, whereas having it physically on the monitor itself, there's no need for overlay.
And you can compare from different files and different photos, like all at the same time. So we have plugged everything in. Let's see if the computer posts, shall we?
Kenny, would you like to do the honors?
3, 2, 1.
Hey-ho, there we go.
Look at that. Ooh, nice, beautiful LED fans. And
then
we're gonna listen for the...
Everything is working. Turn it on. Let's go. I see fans spinning. All fans are spinning. GPU fans are spinning. Radiator fans are spinning.
Everything's purring
so
nicely.
nice and quiet.
Oh, yes!
Let's
ASUS.
go!
Oh, yes!
Let's go!
Oh, we did it!
There we go, baby.
Well, we wanted to put this build to the test and leave no data behind. So we ran 4 different benchmarks: 3D Mark, Cinebench, Blender, and Geekbench. Ethan, how did we do on 3D Mark?
Well, for 3D Mark, the time spy score was, wow, 23,173.
Whoa.
And graphics coming in at 26,313 with a CPU core of 13,826.
Very impressive. On Cinebench, which only tests the CPU, for the CPU multi-core, our AMD Ryzen 9 7950X3D scored a 34,487. And on single core, we scored a 1,759. What do you think about that, Ethan?
Well, I would say this really proves how the 7950 X2D gives you better price to performance, only scoring slightly lower than that of the i9 13900KS, which is considerably more expensive.
And what can you say with respect to how this CPU will help in content creation?
Simply put, overall efficiency. With 16 cores and 32 threads, and with AMD's 3D V-Cache, you'll be able to render and process high-quality videos and footage in record time.
That's awesome. So, how'd we do on Blender?
Well, the 7950 X3D scored a 539.09,
Whoa.
and the 4080 scored a 9,598.66.
Well, our system is proving across all benchmarks to be pretty intense. That leaves only Geekbench, where our CPU scored 2,646 for single core and 18,032 for multi-core.
And the 4080 garnered a 227,599 OpenCL score.
Being able to hit that score on this benchmark, again, puts you in that creme de la creme category with the 4090 and one or two production graphics cards.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, everyone, this brings us to our wrap-up.
Like usual, you can pick up any and all of these components from ASUS by clicking the links in the description below.
If you have any questions about this build or about being a content creator, leave them in the comments, starting with ASUS. Let us know what you think and what you're curious about. Ethan and I will look out for you in the comments section. Thanks so much for tuning into ASUS Garage, and until next time.
We'll see you around.